Welcome to Maitri. I feel so privileged to be sitting here with 8 amazing film professionals that don't need an introduction. Maitri is a platform that we started so that we can encourage honest conversations. We can make connections between the different ecosystems, film industries that exist within India, and also form a database. Right now, the Amazon Prime Video team is working very hard to actually kickstart the social pages of Maitri. It is a landmark thing to happen. I want to start with strides that we are taking. So, out of the many women who joined us 8 months back, um, you'll find all of the progress on the social pages, but I just want to highlight a few. Juhi Chaturvedi, who's actually written films like Piku and October, was working on the script of her first film as director. She's finished the script, she's got a producer on board, and she's come very close to taking her project forward.
Wow.
Richa Chadda had just won the Berlinale grant, where she was supposed to kickstart a program that is going to incubate female key grip and gaffers into the industry. The first workshop is done, and Neha Parthi Matyani, who's with us today, was one of the mentors. And there are 9 gaffers right now that are interning on different sets. She also opened a production house. Her first production, Girls Will Be Girls, has 70% women in there. All the HODs are women except for the makeup department. Many people will think that that's a mistake, but it's true. And Sumukhi Suresh started a content house called Motormouth. She wanted to only work on projects that are going to put women characters at the center. In 8 months, she's got 8 commissioned projects that she's working on. So, welcome to this. I'm hoping that all of us can bring about change in the industry to gain professional agency. Has definitely come with one added layer of challenge, which is the gender gap. Last time, when we were sitting down for the first conversation, I opened the house with this question, and I want to ask you this question again. When was the first time you became acutely aware of your gender coming in the way of your work? Eli, you want to take this first?
I always balk at the fact that in 2022, we are still talking gender bias. We are still talking gender gap. You know, the progress is slow, like you said, it's drying paint and all. So Nagesh and I are partners, right? We're a director-producer team. Sharply cut, divided duties. We know exactly what one has to do. But we would go to a meeting, and every time there was a question asked, all eyes would turn to Nagesh. So Nagesh would be very confused and he'd look at me. Because if there are budget questions, or there are questions on, how we were going to put the project together, because that's not his department. He's come because he's a director I'm pitching. So that was the whole thing. And then Hyderabad Blues are made in some 12 to 18 lakhs, including the publicity. So in the next movie, I wanted 65 lakhs. They were like, why you want 65 lakhs? You made last one in 18, no? But last one you made in 18 was because it was like a calling card. Yeah. So then I'd come to Bombay to pitch my story or my concept and stuff like that. And Hyderabad, I live in Hyderabad, right? Hyderabad was phone karna ke, please, can you meet? And very randomly, like in the evening at 7 o'clock, they'll say, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. How? So I would take an overnight bus and put an airline tag on my bag. So when I walked onto the meeting, I would be like, these early morning flights really are so painful and stuff like that, because you had to build that perception always. So, for me, there were a lot of these bags that were a woman plus height plus, because, there were a lot of things that went against this package. But I suppose when you want something bad enough, then
you get it done.
Yeah.
But actually, just like her, I feel the misogyny now after being around 15 years versus when I started. It was like, people took me seriously, didn't take me seriously, it didn't bother me so much. But after 15 years of experience, I'm still doing romantic comedies because, I'm so proud of her and Priya. They managed to do action films and stuff, but people are still not ready to take a chance. That's when after 15 years is when it's hitting me. Up until now, it was, okay, I still need to prove that I can do something and all of that. Come on, I've done that and I can do more. But I'm sort of stuck in the rom-com zone because they think there's a woman and she can handle these delicate subjects. The last film that I did was Rashmi Rocket. I
And you
did
were
that while I
pregnant?
was pregnant, and it was a full-on sports film with like 3 or 4 cameras on set when we were shooting that. So there are some people who are willing to take a chance. I was pregnant. I was. I shot that film while I was 3 to 6 months pregnant.
She was the Rashmi Rocket.
So I mean, some people take a chance, so you can't sort of generalize.
I think what one would like is that the people who are taking a chance just increase in number. Ratina, what about you?
I got a superstar date for a movie, and it was like, not an easy thing. And I got Parvati's date as well. But when a producer came for that movie, hero is Mammootty, okay, fine, they can have business. And suddenly this producer, I didn't go, my friend went and said, if it was someone else, I would have done this movie. Because it's a woman and like in Malayalam we say, "Oru pennano," kind. It's like he was just blaming the actor and all those crew members because they were like, "Oh, he's doing a movie with a woman." I was so shocked. Like, why is there anything wrong? Me directing this movie, and I got read. I don't want this producer. People who were supporting us, they were people like who knew like that I have a potential, everything. But majority like this is how they think that a woman, how will this movie end up and all those things. That was my reason. And, after that, not much.
You know, look at how deep this bias is, that even with Mammootty, Parvati, and some of the best technicians,
Yeah.
A punt cannot be taken on a woman director because it's so considered so dangerous that we don't know what's going to happen. And also, just coming back to what Neha said, I myself, like logically, if I was to look at a DOP, I'd probably think strength. Distinguishing on the basis of genre is absolutely absurd to me. What about you, Parvati?
I was also just 17 when I starting out, and they would call me Eddie. Eddie is like, what is that in Hindi or English? Abe. Like Abe. It's very derogatory actually. And they say, Eddie in a different ways that I'll take care of it. And then there's that hand holding and the touching of the shoulder, which I don't need that. We are at work, or when I'm asking for the contract, it's about, but we are a family, I'm like, really? You're too incestuous for a family. Like, what's going on? This is exactly 17, 18, 19, those years, where the senior actors that I have watched growing up with admiration would comment on how certain pants would make my buttocks look bigger. I should wear those more. I'm walking like a man. You should look at that other supporting cast lady and learn how to walk like a woman somehow. It hurt my hips. Giving bucket loads of benefit of doubt to these people, right? I'm like thinking maybe he's is about a woman or their bodies, and you're shrinking. You're like shrinking, sitting there. Your mother is there. You're petrified after a point, right? I mean, especially in your teenage, we speak about how you freeze and then you get blamed and then you blame yourself. And it takes years of unlearning that and bringing that again to like sort of not bookend this answer, but I'm like, that's why Maitri is important. And that's why I need my tribe. That's why I could feel like, oh, I can go and tell another one of me, like another version of me, and say, I went through this. Oh, you know what about this? Why don't you do this? And like, why don't we do this? I don't remember my life in this industry before Women in Cinema Collective. I don't really remember. It's a blur. The way it's empowered me, yeah, it's pretty emotional. Yeah. Sorry to take it there.
So I was traveling from Thrissur to Ernakulam daily because they didn't give me an accommodation there. So when I was writing my script in the in the train, the passenger train. So I told them, yeah, is it possible that hotel nearby? It's not a big, it's a cheap, we can afford it. So I just asked, is it possible? But then immediately I got the reaction from the group. The group is good. Immediately they said, you won't be safe there. Yeah. We are concerned, you won't be safe there because you're a woman. You're not safe there. So that sentence actually hit me hard. Then I asked in return, I'm not safe because I'm a woman. So you are afraid of the men around you, basically, not me. So you can give me an accommodation. I'll look after myself. Yeah, they are afraid of each other. We are afraid of the men around.
This has really hit home because when I was an AD, when I had started out as an
Yeah,
AD,
okay.
I was asked to be out of all the outdoor schedules because it'll be a problem to take you along.
Yeah.
Because there are only
And they have to
men.
get you an extra room.
Yeah,
because-
and you will not
yeah.
be able to share with anyone because
Yeah.
you're the only woman. And because you missed out on that outdoor, you wouldn't get a credit on that film because did you complete the film? But you
Exactly.
didn't let me complete.
Ridiculous.
So it was a vicious circle.
Yeah, true.
But can I just tell you something? And I've talked about my experiences in the past, but you know, we were sitting in a cafe in office, and there's a colleague of mine who's going through divorce. And, you know, she was sharing, and it's a safe space, you know, there are other colleagues who were sitting, some male colleagues, and she was talking about, you know, how it's been very tough. And this gentleman talks about, but, you know, this is what happens to women in media now. Very difficult to find that work-life harmony. I mean, do you know what a divorce is? What she is going through? What led to that decision? You have no idea. And by the way, you yourself have gone through a divorce. Did anyone ask you that? Did anyone say that a man working in media, you know, it's an obvious thing? It made me so angry at that point of time. I had to call it out. I told him, I'm not okay with this. You'll have to really apologize. It's not okay for you to make this generalized, sweeping statement.
for you.
It's not cool. So he said, no. I understand. I said, no, you'll have to apologize for this. This is not okay.
I'm so glad that you called out this person. We would love male allies, and we have so many of them. And I hope that tribe increases. But guys, it's our problem. You know, we've got the skin in the game. We've got to very actively make this a priority and bring about change.
I used to be so envious of my fellow male photographers who were able to kind of have access into subcultures or parts of Delhi, North India, or interiors of India that I could not go without an entourage or a driver who anyway was dodgy. Kind of work that I could photograph or capture or have access to had to be to some degree safe for a woman. It's true, like at least here we have like, you know, because it's a collaborative process, cinema, and we have boss ladies, you know, you guys can create a space for us. But a lot of other aspects of art, you know, like creativity, you know, I don't think it's going to be easy to be able to create this safety. I could never like photograph a brothel or, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, not that, no, I did want to, but the point is that I couldn't. But, you know, it's sad that we have to like pick and choose what we can talk about or what we can show and what we can photograph, you know, depending on how much access we have to that place.
You're right that to a certain extent, we'll have to look at what is realistic, what is not realistic. You know, that goalpost has shifted because there were things that were just not possible 20 years ago. And Ilahi knows that. All of us know that because we were starting out. We were doing things at that point of time. Rima, what about you?
Well, Smriti, I think as women, no, we are so acutely aware of our gender. As in, even before I got into the industry, oh, you want to be an actress? Are you sure? Then I get into the industry. I do my first film with a fabulous director. I work with Shyama Prasad sir. Everything was so well managed. And I'm like, wow, this industry is so cool. So Shyam sir also made sure we were all paid handsomely. Then I move on to my second film. And so from the next movie onwards, they're like, shelf life? They'll throw you all these terms. You know, we'll just audition a new girl and it doesn't matter. The actors anyways bring in the audience. The female actor does not matter. You know, so from the time you get into the industry, you are constantly told that you have no value.
Online trolling and online abuse is the new added layer. In 2017, exactly 5 years ago, around this time, Parvati's world exploded because a statement of hers got the trolls going and she was mercilessly trolled. It was one of the darkest periods of your life. I just want to ask you that what could all of us have done differently to make you feel better at that point of time?
Okay, so it's kind of eerie that it's exactly 5 years since. 10th of December is when I said what I said. We were together, we were sitting on the same panel. And the topic, if I'm not mistaken, was how do we subvert male gaze in cinema? And I had commented on this particular film, which had enough examples to talk about. And I think one day went by, and the second day, so I had a Twitter account, Facebook account, and I slowly started getting to know the comments were. I didn't have a problem, but I started actually responding because I didn't know any better. Rima called me and said, "Babe, don't read the comments because way before I was trolled this way, Rima had been okay, and Sajita Madatul has been like, and she'd continued nevertheless. I mean, she's made of something else, and she told me, I don't think you should read the comments. But I was decided. I was like, I'll read every single one. And as much as it broke me, it made me angrier and angrier. And the more I spoke back, I remember I had an interview where it was like a spotlight interview for a Malayalam news channel where there was like, it felt like a courtroom situation. I'm sitting in the spotlight and they're asking me questions. And I was very passionate because I stood by what I said. It really made sense to me. I know that
She
I'm
made
making
sense.
Yeah.
She made
And
absolute sense.
yeah, and then it went on for a while until some of the actors who called me asked me, why do you need to ruffle up the feathers? Why couldn't we just at least don't react now? That hurt me even more because these were women I really, 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 really looked up to. The fact that they all came back to the industry after taking with whatever hiatuses, that was very much something that made me very happy and inspired me. But then again, everything was getting into a reset. I was like, so physiologically it was affecting. And for the first time, I realized this is not me. I just happened to be the trigger. I'm just happened to be the one here. I could have been anybody else, and they would have done it. But the fact is that I don't have remorse over what I said is what made them angrier. And then it moved on to death threats and rape threats. So that for me, I guess, was the biggest takeaway is that I wish more of my colleagues just said, stop. Okay, she's one of us. Within about, I think, 6 months later is when physiologically it's affected me the worst. When my films were having dislike campaigns against it. One producer of one of my films refused to put me on the poster because that will be negative publicity for the film. And then it was like silence. No offers, nothing. So no, it was going down. And for the very first time when I did get a role, it was my second film's producer, PV Gangadharan. He called me and Mola is a way to say, Beta, my kids, my daughters are coming together to, forming a production house, S Cube Films, right? And they would love to talk to you about. So it was not him producing. He's getting his daughters into the scene, Sherga, Shenuga, and Shekna. They started S Cube Films and they chose me. And I was like, but why me? I'm the last person you should be investing in right now because everyone's gonna attack this film. But the writers, who are also the writers of that film that I had did earlier, they all said, no, it's gonna be you. So what happened is I needed Uyere and the character Pallavi way more than I had thought because I needed what she had to go through in that, which is an acid attack survival story. I needed these people to trust me. It took 3 women producing a film entirely trusting me, paying me the highest amount an actor was getting paid, a female actor was getting paid in Malayalam, regardless. And they didn't say a word about the trolling to me. It was during shoot when I asked them, weren't you worried? And they're like, we'll see what happens. But we knew that it's going to be you. We knew. I had lost all confidence. I had lost all confidence. I had made plans to go study creative writing in Toronto, where to take the loan from, all of that, discussing things with my parents. And it gets me emotional every single time is that the first day of Uyere's release, oh my God, and sitting in a crowded theater where people are weeping and crying and laughing and clapping at the end, I still get goose flesh every single time.
And I'm so proud.
She was the EP.
EP of that.
Ratina was the EP to my project.
First independent project for
Yes.
Ratina.
Yeah. So this for me is a massive story. I keep telling myself, anytime I'm feeling low, anytime I feel like I'm doubting myself, it's like, no, that happened, babe. Like, nothing can top that. You can't go down. Let it be fear. Because I've lived my entire life in fear, in different versions of fear. If that's what it takes for us to sort of turn the whole thing around to another space of saying that we actually all have space to occupy. आपको real estate की कोई You don't
But
have to
that's
worry
it.
about it.
It's
We
not
all
about
can
us
occupy the
pushing someone
space.
out to get our space.
Exactly.
It's about coexistence.
Exactly.
It's about you respecting our space as much as we respect your space or
Exactly.
our space, right?
But I also love the fact that, how people like Ilahe or Aparna are very key to looking at these kind of problems like acutely, because there were 3 female producers who actually hired her, that brought her back. Of course, all of that support matters, but what matters is relevance and work and success. I want to know from you, Aparna, you've put women in the writing room. You've made it compulsory for people to have a woman writer in the writing room. Equal representation on the sets. I want to know from you, even though they are early days, what are the changes that you've seen in terms of narratives and female portrayals?
What absolutely heartwarming is that when somebody comes and pitches to me now, even before I can say it, they tell me, yeah, we know that you will not allow us to even start development if we don't have a woman. We do have a woman. They are beginning to talk the right things, like our women characters have agency, something that I never heard. This will pass the Bechdel test. And it will pass the Bechdel test. I'll give you an example. There is, sometimes I hear that uh, this woman does not really deserve a credit on the show because, we put her because you asked us to put her in the writer's room. And it's a great opportunity for her because she really learnt it. So my question to them is, was she present throughout the 3, the 6, the 9 months of development? Yes, she was, but she was learning. Did she not contribute at all? Did she not write anything? Yeah, but she was learning. Even if she was learning, she deserves a credit. And the only way that anyone on this project will get credit is if everyone gets a credit. So that's the next battle that I'm now fighting.
मतलब कान में रोड़ने पड़ रहे हैं.
थोड़े पढ़ रहे हैं, पर थोड़ा change तो आ रहा है.
Having said that, we've done a feature film called Mode, which had Aisha Takia and Ran Vijay. So, Nagesh is the writer-director and he also produced it with me. Then there was someone else who was the producer, who put in the money, because in India, who puts in the money gets the producer title, no, not the presenter title. So producer. So he decided suddenly before the shoot that he didn't want 3 credits on the producer. So it would be his name, it would be Nagesh Kukuno, it would be Ilahe. So he said, आप EP का credit ले लो. मैं बोली आप ले लो. आप एक दिन सेट पे नहीं आए. हाँ, आप एक दिन सेट पे नहीं आए. You cut checks, that also late. रो के, we need the next tranche was going on. And then, so he decided that Nagesh and I will take the credit. And firstly, Nagesh is getting writer and director, right? So he's already got credit. You didn't even show your face once. Nobody knows. If you come into the room, nobody will know who you are. Why are you after my credit? मतलब मैं छोटी सी जान, I worked my butt off from morning to night, arranging food, arranging cars, people telling me, every day white Maruti comes for me. Okay, I'll send you green. Means I don't understand what your problem is. ये सब, after listening to all this crap for 60 days, you're after my credit. Duffer. Now, yeah,
I'm
know
a
this
fan.
nonsense.
But the other thing that I'm constantly now hearing is that you want to turn every subject into a woman-led narrative. Everything. But I'm absolutely not. I don't want it. But can there be a story without a woman? All I'm saying is that those characters need to have agency. All I'm saying is that they need to have a defined arc. They can't be props. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking you to turn everything into a woman. No.
Somebody saying this very casually to me, and I was like, how have we normalized this? That, Smriti, if you're going to put everything through the gender lens, babe, nothing will pass muster. So I said, then maybe nothing should pass muster. I want to ask each one of you to tell me, what are those red flags that you can detect now in conversations that are being had with you, but you can make out that this is not the right lens or the right philosophy that this person has as far as women are concerned?
Firstly, I don't think I have the luxury of stepping away from a situation once I'm face to face with a misogynist. What I'm trying to say is that the more we live, the more sort of suffering or incidents like this or a certain amount of trauma we experience. I'm not saying that only through experience of trauma do we evolve so incredibly. I'm not saying that's the only way to gain wisdom. But I'm saying it's with time is when I'm learning even about why I was okay with what men thought of me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a very complex situation, and I don't think that a lot of them are necessarily doing it knowingly. You know,
Very much in agreement with the fact that, I mean, it's taken 17 years of a lot of healing work, therapy because others don't do therapy, all of those things for me to understand that, oh, wait, I can create my own value and stay with it and then really take a deep dive as to why did I allow it to happen. Now, this is not guilt tripping myself or shaming myself here, but there was a pattern, there was a value system which was introduced to me as a girl child, right? Like growing up, that the pleasing aspect of it, watching the tone aspect of it, getting them to like you, all these things were very, very important. And it's all falling away so gorgeously right now. I'm like, it's liberating. I've realized that over a period of time, it's becoming more uncomfortable to be only surrounded by men on set. Like when I'm there, I'm very aware physically that there are only 4 women: the hairdresser, me, and the supporting cast, and there's 70 men, and I can feel it. At the same time, Rima and I had worked on a short project where Rima directed it. I'm hoping it's okay as we say that. And that was about 17 members, all of us, including cast. And that was 11 women and about 7 men. And the energy on that set was just so different. And the more representation and the more people of my gender that I was able to just see them, it just does something to you subconsciously. I may not be able to make it happen immediately because I'm an actor at this point. But yeah, when I meet people, I go over to them and ask them, do you have a project coming up where you have to do an intimate scene? I can tell you what I do. I actually do that. This might seem very weird for them, but I'm like, let me give you unsolicited advice here. It might come in handy because I wish somebody had done that for me. Somebody had said, okay, are you okay with this scene? I read the script.
if you had a
have this
female
scene."
woman DOP, we do that all the time.
We do that all the time.
That's you know.
What are the things that you put into motion, to navigate the industry and move ahead?
Oh, I've not succeeded in it. Is what I want to. I want to say I really haven't navigated it well. When I came into the industry, I still remember Jyotirmayi. She was a senior actor at that point. Who took me aside. I didn't know. I was very new. I don't have anybody in the industry. And she said, we were both performers. We were doing a stage show, actually. And she's kind of understood that I was not being paid well. And she said, see, this is what I quote. And you can quote this much. I was young. I just got into the industry. You know how much that means to a newcomer. And today when, Parvati was just saying, she initiates conversations like that. It's a huge step. I remember when she was doing Halal Love Story, Parvati, there was another actress in the movie, and it was hot. And she said, if you want, there's this thick lining. You can actually ask the costume designer to remove it. You can ask for whatever is going to be a comfortable situation for you to deliver your performance. That is, you can demand certain things on set. We are told that we have to keep mum if you have to find work. You're isolated because of that, because you don't have these spaces to share information. And I think if there's one thing I want to do, it is to create spaces where we can sit like this and talk and share information.
Ratina and Indu, both this year, have made their debut as directors. And what fantastic films! 2 lauded films and 2 very successful films with superstars. And everybody is looking at them as 2 very interesting, capable voices that have entered the workforce. You are going to be show running a series very soon. And you're also headlining a massive project, Neela Velicham, that is going to release next year. So all the things that you want to put into motion.
I think as much as we want more women representation on the technical side, because, cinema is so technical. How many women that we meet, like, I want to see an Ilahi on screen. Look at that jazz.
I won't even ask for money.
I remember a male director discussing it with me. लड़कियों को ऐसा कैसे दिखाते हैं ये लोग? ऐसे बात करते हैं लड़कियां. But I was like, now he has a notion of a woman, and he's put that woman in a silo. Who's going to consistently be doing the
His
same kind
idea
of
of a woman.
Idea of a woman.
Often enough, I've been told, but I'm a very feminist man. Don't worry, I will write a very, very strong woman. That's fine. I'm very feminist. If you're a feminist, you'd not have a problem with another woman writing along with you, right? I insist that you have one. Why? You turn around. But where are the women?
Oh,
And
God.
that's why
the
this
question.
database is really important.
I
of
agree.
women writers.
I think
Here
that's
they
the
are.
most important
Here
thing.
they are.
We need to be on the list.
Yeah.
If we're not on the list, the
Yeah.
conversation doesn't start. I
Yeah.
think that's so crucial.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We have to have at least 30% HODs who are women on your sets. Yeah, and they've again now started turning around and telling me that you're a broken record. And I keep telling them, I will be broken till you set it right. I will be a record till it's broken.
But I really want to ask you guys that one thing. We've spoken about Maitri, we've spoken about how important these spaces are and how cardinal it is to have women making the decisions so that more women can be pulled in, people don't drop out of the workforce, logistics are taken care of, and then we look at narratives that are balanced, that do justice to people. What is the one thing that all of you pledge to bring about in your workforce or change, going forward?
I'm already at it. I've been working with an all-women crew, and I give them, all sort of freedom in terms of, bringing in suggestions and being a part of the whole creative process.
The next step is to ensure that there are at least 30% women as HODs on all of our sets. It's a difficult one, but we're at it.
4 more shots, we almost did that.
Pretty much.
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Made in heaven, we did it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like all.
Yeah.
All.
I think there should be space. I think one should be allowed to be vulnerable. Whether they're men or women, that concept of, oh, don't. I want to create a space with people who I'm working with that they should be able to talk to me. And
What Shreya's saying, that maybe listen, maybe talk, maybe connect a little bit and kind of figure out that, yeah, it's okay to say that, I'm not being able to do this.
I pledge to listen better. Even if I don't want to, even if I want to be lazy and then sit back into my privilege. I want to acknowledge that there are times I have felt that. I'm very kind to myself, even when I notice that about myself. But when I listen, I try now not immediately providing solutions instead of understanding a bigger picture about it. Where did it start, right? It's generational trauma. Yeah, make sure that now stories are told from my perspective now. And I want
Guys,
to bring
big
together.
round of applause for Parvati, because Parvati is casting right now. And middle of next year, she's also got a producer on board. It's a finished script. Middle of next year, her film goes on the floors. She's working in a Hindi film right now, and she's going to go on to Paranjit's set right after this. And then once that finishes, we have a new director.
Mashallah.
I thought, suffering is the boldness. I thought I have to suffer everything. I shouldn't tell anybody that in what mental stage I'm going through or what I'm going through in my life or anything. But one day she told me that, no, you have to tell. You have to speak. You have to make people know, those who are around you should know what you're going through. There only my life changed. Really, my life changed. After that, I before and after kind of things. Because I thought, suffering is a boldness. I shouldn't say anybody anything.
Going forward, with whatever power I have, I'm going to just grab it, whatever comes my way, and use it to keep doors open for more women to come forward. I'm hoping we will be doing it together in our series going forward. And also, you said that's the next point, not to cave in. I think I'll club it as an answer to your previous question about the red flag. what is the red flag? I think the red flag is when I'm feeling uncomfortable saying the truth.
Yes. Absolutely.
Brilliantly put.
Yes.
Brilliantly put.
Yes. And I've noticed that, I cut myself down. I when I'm not in the right company, when there is a misogynist around, and when I know that, I might lose work, I'm feeling threatened. I vow to sit in that discomfort, analyze what I'm not doing, and correct myself and speak up. I think it's time.
It is so precious, and it's
I think
precious
so
because
brave,
it's
yeah.
very difficult to do that.
But I was just thinking, I pledge and I'll make sure that I won't quit. Yeah, that is it. Because I was just flying from Trivandrum to Mumbai, and I was attending the International Film Festival of Kerala. I was there. It was
With your film?
Yeah, with my film. But that's not the point. But I was meeting a lot of women there, girls there, who are delegates and watching films and discussing. I met at least 100 of them in last 3 days. I was meeting them and talking, and all are inspired by all of us, like in different ways. When I did my first film, I felt that, I understand from people around me that they're all proud, and they're all looking at me like that. I've been here for 12 years and I made something. So then this is the point I realized that, I have to be here. I have to survive the next years of my life doing something, and I'll make sure I won't quit. And I know who. I mean, a lot of people are looking at us in that way, so I have to be here. I'll make sure I'll be here. That's it.
Eli, the OG.
Yeah, I don't bargain with any female actor I work with. When they come to the table to negotiate, only they come on the back foot. Because they're getting a show, they're getting this lead character, they're getting this. They don't want to lose it for money. The show will sell because of their face eventually, and no one's doing anyone a favor. You bring your strengths to the table, I bring my strengths to the table. So I never, and I have to admit, I didn't do that on Modern Love also.
I hope you keep plugging into Maitri. There's a lot that's going to happen at Maitri going forward. But thank you so much for sharing all your experiences and insights, and also all the plans of what you want to do going forward. But I also just want to congratulate this room, because this is a room again of women in motion, women in power, women who can really bring about very, very cardinal change that will inspire other people to take those steps. So thank you so much.
Thank you.